quick. Okay, welcome to the finale in a series of 4 live instructional webinars designed to support the Memory Book Online Yearbook program. Tonight we will be focusing on functions that relate to proofing and submitting pages in the Memory Book Online program. Specifically, we will be reviewing using the virtual book, running spell check on pages, reviewing pages for any incomplete elements, and completing pages, and then how to put those completed pages back in progress in case you need to make any changes, submitting pages, and then getting the proper paperwork filled in at time of submission. This webinar is going to take approximately 20 to 30 minutes, so we'll just kind of jump into it here. First thing that we'll kind of talk about, just kind of touch up on what we've talked about in the past, is bleeds and margins. So essentially, the concept of bleed is full color printing that extends all the way to the edge of your pages. Now, I'm going to jump onto a page here real quick. So when we're looking at our pages, once again, we have this inner blue line here, and this is our margin. Ideally, you'll want to have all of your text and photos within here. That way it just ensures that nothing is at risk of being trimmed or being cut off. Now that we have the background on the page, there is an orangish reddish line that goes out here, and that's the estimated trim line. Now once we have a background on here, this area out to the upper edge is a lighter color, just a symbol that this is what's going to be, this is the bleed area, and this is what's going to be trimmed off. So when you're reviewing your pages, if you've done collage pages where you've had stuff pushed out to the edges, you'll just want to make sure that no important, part of images, really. You don't want faces get cut off, sides of heads cut off. If then, you might want to choose a different photo for that location, because ideally the only thing you want out being trimmed off would be like open area or unneeded area of a photo. Now, some other things that we'll go through here, and I'm going to go back to plan. One of the things that we can't stress more enough is to go through when reviewing pages is to check all text first, any kind of spelling errors in that, but especially check your spelling on pages of importance. This would be, if you have a principals page where they have a principals message, any kind of dedication, teachers messages, or teacher pages, or any kind of memoriam or dedication be so really check the spelling on those pages. That way you don't have anything that would be embarrassing or anything, or make it not look well. So I'm going to jump on to my first page here, and I just have a principals message on there. Now to check spelling on here, I'm going to go up to the top toolbar, and to run the spell check, you're going to click on this gray A with the blue check here, and we're going to click on this. Now, when looking through this, it's going to catch any kind of obvious misspellings. One thing that it will not check for is grammar. So, if you use the wrong word in that, it's not going to pick up on that. And it's also not going to pick up on correctly spelled words that you're not used in the right, are not used right, kind of like there, and there. So you're going to have to look over these. But obvious misspellings it'll look for as well. So it's going to go through here. It's capturing the K through 8, so I'm going to ignore that. It might pick up some abbreviations. I'm going to ignore those. Now, it did catch one, not in dictionary, manner. So it you can look through your thing here. Okay, rigorous manner, that does need to do that. So I'm going to do change. And that's going to be that. Now, one thing it didn't catch here, and I'm going to zoom in on my letter here real quick, is this use of the word principal. So like I said, it's going to catch obvious misspellings, but it's not going to catch correctly spelled words used in the wrong usage. So whenever we're talking about principal, well, the form of principal I have highlighted here is in the term of money, where up at the top here, principal, this is your principal, because one way to always remember that is the principal is your pal. So, so one thing that we'll go through here and just change that. So definitely on pages, run the spell check, but read through it. Also, definitely recommend when you're looking at your pages, and if you're on a page itself, right up here, there is the preview page button. And this is going to generate a low resolution PDF proof of your page that you can either download, or you can print this. And, if you just download it, the PDF, you can hook that to an email, send that out to someone to review it, or you can print it out and do the same thing. Hand that to somebody, a second or even a third set of eyes going through some of the most important messages in your book could be really helpful. It'll just make sure that, a few other people checking on it be able to catch anything that might be misspelled. Okay. Now, another thing, when you're kind of going through here and you're looking at your class pages, you'll want to just make sure, go through your classes one more time. If you spot any duplicates, go ahead and take care of those. You might have to reset a flow, mark an image as do not use, and then come back and flow the rest of the class in. Now, one thing that when the book is coming through the plant, if it's a duplicate or like a student and then a student has a retake and they're in there, we're not going to stop that. So definitely make sure that you kind of check for any kind of duplicates. The only thing that would really put any kind of book on hold when referring to duplicates is two images or two student images having the same name, where it would be kind of an obvious, if you had both of these photos right here. So this first girl's name, Emily Abney, and, if the boy right next to it had a name in the list, Emily Abney 2, that would be something that, we would catch and put on hold. But if this was actually Emily Abney and then a retake version of her, that goes on through. So definitely make sure that you're checking on those. Now, another thing while you're reviewing your pages, and I'm going to jump back to the plan area here, and a proofing tool that we have is the virtual book. Now, the virtual book, what this is, it's basically just a digital version of your book that you can kind of flip through. You can grab the pages and flip them over. There's also the buttons down here that you can click and then slides them over. Now, this this virtual book includes, it's not showing the book is trimmed. It's showing it where it does include the bleed. So basically, it's just good for reviewing, to give you a sense of feeling, going through here to see if you catch anything at a glance. Also gives you a good perspective of, do you have a good flow going on through the book that you have here. So it's basically a review tool. If you see something as you're flipping through that catches your eye, like, oh, hey, what's this teacher's photo doing up in the very corner? You can hit edit, that is then going to take you to that page, and where you can be like, oh, well, okay, well, this person is right out to the bleed. I need to move them into the margins. And then also while you're here, you'd be like, oh, well, let me run some spell check while I'm here. So third was misspelled, so I'll change that. And caught that, and we're okay. Now we can save our changes. So I'll go back to VirtualBook here, but it's really a good review tool. Like I said, it's not showing the final trim. It is showing that, it's just a review, and you can catch stuff. Like, here we go again. I can go to this page. And it needs to be Mrs. Howard's. I'll run spell check on it, just be sure. Now, it is saying it is incomplete. Now, like I said before, one thing spell check's not catching is grammar. So it's not Howard's is, it's, it's Mrs. Howard. So we're going to take out that extra S there. We'll hit save, and spell check's now complete on that. So another tools that you have here for reviewing, you can do each page individually, and that's going through and clicking on, whether you're here in plan, there is the little printer icon next to each page where you can kind of review pages individually if you'd like, or on this top gray bar here, there is a print drop down to where you could do print all. Now, what print all is going to do, it's going to generate a PDF proof of your entire book. Now, depending on your internet speed and depending on the amount of photos and everything you have in your pages, this may take a while to run. It may take a few minutes. So now, one thing before you run it, one thing you'll definitely want to make sure is to have pop-up blockers turned off. If pop-up blockers are on, this print all tool will not run for you. Now, after everything generates and it's finished, now if you're in a browser like so, I'm just in Google Chrome, you'll get another tab kind of pop out here. Actually, once it's done generating, you actually hit a finish button, and it's going to generate this PDF that you can pull up. And again, you can go through it. I think it's actually, right here. You can kind of go through it. You can kind of see on this proof, the dashed lines here represent where we're got the estimated trim line. And like I said, we can download it or we can print it and hand it out for a review. Come back here and let me jump on a page here real quick. Now, another function that advisors have, and let's see, how am I in here? Yeah, so when you're here in the pages area, there's also this preview page button that does the same as when you're in there. So now that you've gone through, we've gone over spell check, how to review your pages, things that you're looking out for. Now when it's all time and ready to send in your pages, you'll then be going back to number one plan. And when you're back on the page ladder, one thing you'll notice, next out to the side of each page, you'll then have a complete button. So to begin kind of completing and submitting, You'll just kind of click on a complete button. You'll get a message, pages completed. You'll hit OK. Now you'll see along the outside of your pages where you were, this yellow status is in progress. Completed page has this lime green outline on it now. Now, once you complete a page, 2 more buttons will appear for you. You will see a submit and a return button. The submit button, when you click on this, will send that page into us. And then it's fully locked down. You can edit it no longer. Now, one thing that we suggest is to, when you're completing your pages, and completing and submitting pages, just first go through and make sure that they all complete first. And that way, if you catch something, put it at a complete status, give it another last look over. If you do catch something, if you need to put a page back in progress, as advisor, you have this return button. If you click on the return button, you'll say pages returned. The page is back in progress. You're then able to go back onto that page and make any changes that you need. So I'm just going to submit it here. Okay, so now we have something comes up. It says you might have some more work to do before you can submit the following pages. So on page 3, it's telling me an empty image box exists. So if there are any incomplete elements, when you go to complete, the program is going to alert you what those are. And before it'll allow you to complete the page, you'll need to take care of those elements. So I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to jump back onto page 2 and 3 here. Now it's telling us that an empty image box exists. However, at a glance, while we're looking at this page, there's nothing, to the eye, there is nothing there. Now, on your top toolbar here, I'm just going to highlight this here real quick, is this little button here right there. And that is here, I'll mark it with this, the highlight incomplete elements button. And what this is going to allow you to do, if you click on this, it's then going to highlight any incomplete text, empty text boxes, where if it's just, if it's a standard text box there on a page that kind of looks hidden, so it'll grab that. I'm going to click on this. It's going to highlight any incomplete text, and it's also going to highlight a text box. So right now it's showing that text box, or that photo box that was, empty, is right here, but I see I have a photo in front of it. So I'm going to remove that text box. Now I'm going to hit this highlight incomplete element button again, and I'm going to highlight, bring it to, and let me kind of zoom in here. Now, to the eye here, it doesn't look like we have anything missing. Well, I'm going to select that again. Now, one way to bring those out, or to see what that is, with that selected, I'm going to just go to the Format tab here, and I'm going to bring that to the front. So now I see I've got an actual, empty photo box there, and then I can remove it. One thing that can happen while you're building your pages is, or what we see is sometimes people will bring an image onto a page and that photo box doesn't highlight green, and then they go and stretch the image to its fullest. Well, sometimes maybe that image is just slightly smaller than that photo box, so it doesn't fill, but they go and stretch it, and it still looks like it's filling that. So I have to be careful with that. Now that we took away that photo box, we see that photo box had the formatting applied to it. So with this selected, we can go and reapply the formatting. Now, if you wanted to see what the others were like, if I click on this photo here, it's going to say, okay, it's a 2-point stroke with this red color. So I'm going to put the stroke back at 2-point. And from the fill, instead of having to hunt down through here, if you need to reapply any formatting, if it's any kind of fill color or stroke color used on the page already, you'll see it under here on used on page, and that way you can quickly reapply that color. All right, so we're going to go ahead and save our changes here. I'm going to hit that incomplete elements button just one more time. We'll get a message, no incomplete elements. And that's going to let us know that we're then good to go back to our page, hit complete. There's no comments or anything keeping it from submitting, so we're going to hit OK. Complete. Oh, did not want to do that one. Okay, so that one took them at the same time, and that's just because of this DPS marker that I have on the pages. When you're going through your pages, if you see this DPS marker, doesn't mean anything's wrong with the page. It just means that you have something on those pages that connects those pages together. So I mean, it's any kind of page element here. In this case, the connecting element is this red banner that stretches all the way across, and that's just one single element. So like I said, it doesn't mean anything's wrong with the page. It's just an indicator to let you know that something ties those pages together, whether it's a banner, photo going down the middle, or a piece of clip art there. And then now once you have all of your pages at a completed status, you've given it one last review, you're then to go and hit your submit button. And you'll just go through, hit OK. And once you see your page is outlined in black, that page is submitted and is sent in to us. So that is how we kind of are going to review, complete, and submit pages. Now, after you complete your pages and submit them and turn them in, once the book, what to kind of expect, after you submit your pages, you might send just a quick email to your sales rep, letting them know, hey, all the pages are submitted, I have those in. Now, after the book is checked into production by a receiving department, you'll then get a confirmation email from them, and that email is going to go over, verify your number of pages, number of copies, any kind of options you've agreed upon with your sales rep. And then later down the road, maybe about a week or so after that, that's when your invoice will be emailed to you, or it'll be sent to you. Now at this time, I'm going to kind of open everything back up here. I guess I haven't had anything muted. I guess normally at this time we'll just open it up, saying kind of a question and answer if you have any. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Now's the time. I'll answer anything if you have one. Okay. Well, no questions so far. Well, if we're good on everything that we've covered today, then I guess we'll go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. Hopefully demonstrating some of the functions related to finalizing pages in the Memory Book Online program may reduce the stress sometimes associated with meeting a deadline. So if you're ever in any help, need any help, please feel free to contact us here in technical support or your customer service rep to aid in this project. So everyone here at Memory Book is looking forward to seeing this year's creations. So thank you again, everybody. You guys have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll talk to you later.